Support comes from Gemma, architects, planners, and designers seeking to bring joy to their clients and communities. Details at gemastl.com.
From the St. Louis Public Radio Newsroom, this is The Gateway. It's Tuesday, April 14th. I'm Abby Larico. Civil rights activist turned East St. Louis historian Reginald Petty received Illinois' highest honor for professional achievement and public service over the weekend.
We were at Selma, and I was at two of the Selma marches and with Martin Luther King and Jesse Jackson and some of the others.
STLPR's Metro East reporter Will Bauer speaks with Petty about his life's work and his new award, coming up after this news on The Gateway. The Joplin police sniper who killed a 2-year-old girl in a 2022 hostage standoff is now a Missouri State Highway Patrol trooper. Sam Zeff has the story.
For 2 years, the officer known only as Sniper 1 fought release of his name in court. The sniper who killed Cleslin Crawford in Baxter Springs, Kansas 4 years ago dropped his lawsuit and can now be named as 36-year-old Keaton Siebenaller. Siebenaller graduated Friday from the Highway Patrol Academy, where he was hired after he left the Joplin Police Department in August. A spokesman says the patrol was aware of the Baxter Springs incident, but Siebenaller, quote, met all the legal and professional standards for employment. Cleslin's aunt, Tedra Nichols, said while it's important Siebenaller's name is now public, she's haunted almost daily by the little girl's killing. I'm Sam Zeff.
The family of a teenager shot and killed by police in St. Louis has released video of the incident. The St. Louis Post-Dispatch reports the family shared a video yesterday of the June 2024 shooting, which shows an officer shooting Amishian Wilkins in the back of the head as the 17-year-old was running away with nothing in his hands. At the time of the shooting, police had said Wilkins had been pointing a gun at officers. Wilkins' family released the video as part of an ongoing lawsuit against the department and Officer Brett Carlson. A police spokesperson tells the Post-Dispatch that the department's initial explanation of the shooting, quote, was not consistent with the actual events. The shooting remains under investigation. 4 new members joined the Festus City Council last night after voters ousted 4 incumbents in last week's municipal election. As St. Louis Public Radio's Katie Gravich reports, the new members are calling for heightened transparency in city government.
All 4 new members ran against a proposed hyperscale data center project and emphasized transparency in their campaigns. At his first city council meeting Monday night, newly elected Ward 4 council member Rick Belville called for a state audit of city government. Meanwhile, Ward 3 council member Dan Moore asked that the council schedule a public meeting to answer questions from Festus residents.
The council represents the people of Festus, and this discussion should take place here in the public.
The shakeup on the council came just days after residents sued the city of Festus and developer CRG in a bid to reverse key milestones leading up to the project. I'm Katie Gravich, St. Louis Public Radio.
Also in Festus, city leaders are working to fix a ballot mistake that left the city without an elected treasurer. Mayor Sam Richards says the position was supposed to appear on last week's municipal election ballot, but it was left off because of an administrative oversight. Current treasurer Lori Eisenbeis, who's held the role for 12 years, does want to continue serving. The mayor asked the city council to appoint her to the position for the next year, with a special election set for April of 2027 to fill the remainder of the term. Council members tabled the issue at their meeting last night. According to city code, a majority of council members must approve the appointment. In the meantime, Mayor Richards says Eisenbeis will remain the acting treasurer per the Missouri State Constitution. Eisenbeis last ran in 2024 and was unopposed. It's unclear if anyone was planning to challenge her this year. Governor Mike Kehoe has signed an executive order kickstarting Missouri's security efforts in preparation for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Cawthor Shire has more.
The executive order officially puts the Missouri State Emergency Operations Plan into effect weeks ahead of the global tournament. The plan activates the Missouri National Guard to assist local law enforcement and allow state agencies to coordinate directly with local jurisdictions.
Ensuring a safe and secure FIFA World Cup is a top priority, and the state of Missouri is prepared to fully support its interagency partners in this team effort.
Governor Kehoe made the announcement at a conference with local and federal officials to discuss security operations for the matches in Kansas City and the FIFA Fan Fest event. I'm Kother Shire.
The average price of gas in the St. Louis region has reached $4 per gallon. As St. Louis Public Radio's Chad Davis reports, the high prices have cash-strapped many drivers.
A study by gas station watchdog Gas Buddy found prices across St. Louis are about 60 cents higher per gallon than last month and about $1 higher than a year ago. Prices have seen steep increases since the Iran war. As of Monday afternoon, many gas stations across the region, including the Gas Mart on Delmar Boulevard, reached about $3.99 per gallon for unleaded. Manas Bhatt is from San Francisco. While prices there have reached more than $6, he's still shocked to see the cost in St. Louis.
I'm driving a small sedan here, and it just really makes you wonder, how long are these prices going to stay like this, and are we ever going to see them go down again?
Gas analysts say they expect a jump in prices this week, with diesel costs to follow. I'm Chad Davis, St. Louis Public Radio.
Habitat restoration efforts in Forest Park appear to be paying off. That's according to a new study examining nearly 3 decades of bird surveys in the area. Ecologist Stella Uterwall is the study's lead author. She says she's most excited that bird species native to the area are increasing in population, including a raptor called the merlin.
It's a type of falcon and one that I had personally never seen in St. Louis before. So this was very exciting for me to see this bird in Forest Park in an area that had received restoration effort.
Uterwall was a guest on St. Louis on the Air. Her study recently appeared in the Journal of Ecological Applications. And in case you were worried that the Merlin raptor is something terrifying looking, it's a beautiful bird. So we can all be thankful for its return to the area. East St. Louis historian and civil rights activist Reginald Petty received an Order of Lincoln Award Saturday. That's the state's highest honor for contributions to the betterment of humanity. St. Louis Public Radio's Metro East reporter Will Bauer sat down with Petty to discuss his life's work, from voting rights in the 1960s to returning to the Metro East and working with the East St. Louis Historical Society. Their conversation starts with Petty describing how he got involved in the civil rights movement.
When I was in Chicago, about 1960 or so, I became active with an organization called African American Heritage Association with Dick Gregory and a number of other people. That's when I really got active. And when I left there and I went down to Carbondale to graduate school, and I met some people there, and after that, I went south and spent some time with John Lewis and Stokely Carmichael and Angela Davis, some of those people. We created the, what was then called SNCC, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, and we were a group that kind of formed that. And that was at the time a kind of a branch of what Martin Luther King was doing and some others. But we were the kind of the younger group. And we kind of wanted to focus more on the grassroots kind of thing and as against the ministers. So we had some kind of conflict at that time, but we did some of the demonstrations, and we were focusing more out of Jackson, Mississippi, doing the voter registration, and we had some records. We did 30-something arrests in a year or so. We were at Selma, and I was at 2 of the Selma marches, and with Martin Luther King and Jesse Jackson and some of the others.
So at some point after this long career in public service, you returned to East St. Louis.
Yes.
So what's left to be uncovered or better understood about East St. Louis history?
I think of it as something that one needs to understand, that just because you or your community is poor, starts off a certain way, doesn't mean that change can't take place. And that change takes place through organizing. You have to pull together certain information. You have to create certain institutions, educational institutions. and you move from there. And if you can get the alumni people who have been successful involved, a lot of changes can take place. And but one of the things that is bothering us now is that we're finding that even though we work hard, we're finding that the president, President Trump right now, if I can say that, some of the things that he's doing is setting things back. So many of the institutions that are coming out now that we thought we had stopped, the idea of dealing with the possibility of cutting voting rights bills and all these kind of things that we thought we had taken care of. So we're now having to redo, refight, I guess, some battles that we thought were over with.
So, of course, you're getting this award this weekend, which the Order of Lincoln Award is given as a distinguishment of the highest achievement in professional and public service in the state. What does that award mean to you?
It's kind of hard for me to say. I don't think much of what I've done over the years. I've just done these things because they were right to do. But obviously there are a number of people who wanted to reward me and say thanks, and I said, okay. And so I appreciate it. I think. But if other people if younger people can see what I've done as being something that they should do, that's kind of what I think more about it. As I did in looking back on some of my heroes growing up, then maybe that can be some advantage.
That was East St. Louis historian and civil rights activist Reginald Petty speaking with St. Louis Public Radio's Metro East reporter Will Bauer. Our Fred Ehrlich edited. The Gateway is a production of St. Louis Public Radio, a listener-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis. Music by Ryan McNeely of Adult Fur. I'm Abby Larico, and from the St. Louis Public Radio newsroom, this has been The Gateway.